Hello, my friends. Welcome back. I hope you are having a peaceful day. Today, I want to tell you a very special story. It is a story about a queen. This queen lived more than 2,000 years ago. She was beautiful. She was smart. She spoke many languages. But her life was not easy. Her story is full of love, power, and danger. Can you imagine living in a palace by the sea? Can you imagine meeting the most powerful men in the world? This queen did all of this. Her name was Cleopatra. If you enjoy learning English through stories like this, please subscribe to Storyline English. Your subscription helps us bring you more beautiful stories for your English journey. Cleopatra was born in the year 69 BC. She was born in Egypt, in the city of Alexandria. Alexandria was a beautiful city by the sea. It had tall buildings. It had libraries full of books. It had scientists and artists from all around the world. Cleopatra's father was King Ptolemy XII. Her family was not Egyptian. They were Greek. They came to Egypt many years before. They ruled Egypt for almost 300 years. Cleopatra had brothers and sisters. In her family, brothers and sisters sometimes married each other. This was the tradition of Egyptian kings and queens. But it also created many problems. Brothers fought brothers. Sisters fought sisters. Everyone wanted to be king or queen. Everyone wanted power. When Cleopatra was young, she studied many things. She loved learning. She learned to read and write in many languages. She could speak Greek, of course, but she also learned Egyptian. This was special. Most kings and queens in her family never learned Egyptian. They thought it was not important. But Cleopatra was different. She wanted to talk to her people. She wanted them to love her. She also studied science and mathematics. She studied philosophy and music. She read all the books in the great library of Alexandria. She asked questions. She wanted to understand the world. People said she was the smartest person in the palace. Maybe she was the smartest person in all of Egypt. But being smart was not enough. Egypt had big problems. The country was not strong anymore. Rome was growing more powerful every day. Rome was a city far away in Italy, but Roman armies were everywhere. They controlled more and more countries. Everyone was afraid of Rome. Egypt was rich, but it was weak. Cleopatra's father knew this. He tried to be friends with Rome. He gave them money. He gave them gifts. But the Romans did not respect him. They called him the flute player. They laughed at him. When Cleopatra was 18 years old, her father died. This was the year 51 BC. Now Cleopatra was queen. But there was a problem. She had to share the throne with her brother. His name was Ptolemy XIII. He was only 10 years old. This was the tradition. A queen and a king ruled together. But Cleopatra did not want to share power. She was smart and strong. Her brother was just a child. At first, everything seemed fine. Cleopatra and her brother ruled together. But the real power was with Cleopatra. She made the decisions. She talked to foreign visitors. She controlled the money. Her brother's advisors did not like this. They wanted the boy to be the real king. They wanted to control him. They did not want a strong queen. These advisors started to work against Cleopatra. They told people that she was dangerous. They said she wanted too much power. They said she did not respect tradition. Slowly, they turned people against her. After 3 years, they forced Cleopatra to leave Egypt. She had to run away. She went to Syria. She was only 21 years old, and she lost her kingdom. But Cleopatra did not give up. She was in Syria, but she did not sit and cry. She started to make a plan. She needed an army. She needed money. She needed help. She talked to local leaders. She made promises. She collected soldiers. She was going to fight for her throne. She was going to return to Egypt. While Cleopatra was in Syria, something important happened. A Roman general came to Egypt. His name was Julius Caesar. Caesar was one of the most powerful men in the world. He was chasing his enemy. His enemy's name was Pompey. Pompey ran to Egypt. He thought the Egyptians would help him, but he was wrong. When Pompey arrived in Egypt, Ptolemy's advisors killed him. They thought this would make Caesar happy. They thought Caesar would be their friend. Caesar arrived in Egypt a few days later. He was not happy about Pompey's death. Caesar did not like how they killed Pompey. It was not honorable. Now Caesar was in Alexandria. He stayed in the royal palace. And this is where our story becomes very interesting. Cleopatra heard that Caesar was in Egypt. She knew this was her chance. She had to meet him. She had to talk to him. If Caesar helped her, she could become queen again. But there was a big problem. Cleopatra's brother and his advisors controlled Alexandria. If Cleopatra tried to enter the city, they would kill her. She could not just walk through the gates. She needed a clever plan. And Cleopatra was very clever. One night, a small boat came to the palace. A man got out of the boat. He was carrying a large carpet. The man said he had a gift for Caesar. The guards let him in. The man walked into Caesar's room. He put the carpet on the floor. Then he unrolled it. And out came Cleopatra. She was hiding inside the carpet. This is how she met Julius Caesar. Caesar was surprised. He was impressed, too. This woman was brave. She was smart. She risked her life to talk to him. Cleopatra talked to Caesar in Latin. She talked beautifully. She was charming. She was intelligent. She told Caesar about the problems in Egypt. She told him how her brother's advisors were bad for Egypt. She told him that she should be the queen. Caesar listened. He was 52 years old. Cleopatra was 21. But they became very close. Some people say they fell in love. Other people say Cleopatra was just using him. Maybe both things were true. Caesar decided to help Cleopatra. He said she should be queen again. He said her brother must share power with her, as the tradition said. But Ptolemy's advisors did not accept this. They started a war. They attacked the palace. Caesar and Cleopatra were trapped inside. They had only a small number of Roman soldiers. The Egyptian army was outside. They tried to burn the ships in the harbor. The fire spread. Some people say the great library of Alexandria burned during this time. Many books were lost forever. The war lasted for months. It was very dangerous. Finally, more Roman soldiers arrived. They defeated Ptolemy's army. The young king tried to escape. He tried to cross the Nile River, but his boat sank. He died in the water. Now Cleopatra was the queen again. She was safe. Caesar had saved her. Cleopatra and Caesar spent more time together. They traveled on the Nile River. They saw the pyramids. They talked about history and science. Cleopatra became pregnant. She had a baby boy. She named him Caesarion. This name means Little Caesar. Cleopatra said Caesar was the father. Later, she traveled to Rome with her son. She wanted people to see her. She wanted them to respect her. She stayed in Caesar's villa. Some Romans were angry about this. They did not like foreign queens. They did not like Caesar's power. Then, something terrible happened. In the year 44 BC, Julius Caesar was killed. A group of Roman senators murdered him. They stabbed him many times. They said he wanted to be king. In Rome, they did not want kings. They wanted a republic. Caesar's death changed everything. Cleopatra was in Rome when this happened. She was afraid. She took her son and went back to Egypt quickly. She did not know what would happen next. After Caesar died, Rome had another war. Different men wanted to rule Rome. One of these men was Mark Antony. He was a general. He was brave and strong. He was Caesar's friend. Mark Antony and another man, Octavian, defeated Caesar's killers. Then they divided the Roman world between them. Octavian controlled the west. Mark Antony controlled the east. Mark Antony needed money. He needed money for his armies. Egypt was rich. So he asked Cleopatra to meet him. They met in the city of Tarsus. Cleopatra arrived in a beautiful ship. The ship had purple sails. It had silver oars. Cleopatra wore expensive clothes. She looked like a goddess. Mark Antony was amazed. Just like with Caesar, Cleopatra and Mark Antony became very close. They fell in love. Or maybe they needed each other. Antony needed Egypt's money. Cleopatra needed Rome's protection. They spent a lot of time together. They had parties. They celebrated. Cleopatra had 3 children with Mark Antony. They were twins, a boy and a girl, and then another boy. But this made Octavian very angry. Octavian was in Rome. He did not like Mark Antony anymore. He told people that Mark Antony forgot about Rome. He said Antony loved a foreign queen more than his own country. He said Cleopatra was dangerous. He said she wanted to control Rome. Slowly, Octavian turned Roman people against Mark Antony and Cleopatra. In the year 31 BC, there was a great battle. It happened at sea, near a place called Actium. Mark Antony and Cleopatra had many ships. Octavian had many ships too. They fought for hours. But Mark Antony and Cleopatra were losing. Suddenly, Cleopatra's ships turned around. They sailed away from the battle. Mark Antony followed her. His fleet was left behind. Many of his men felt betrayed. They surrendered to Octavian. Mark Antony and Cleopatra went back to Egypt. They knew Octavian would come. They tried to prepare. They tried to find allies, but nobody wanted to help them. Octavian was too powerful. 1 year later, Octavian's army arrived in Egypt. There was a small battle. Mark Antony lost again. He heard a rumor that Cleopatra was dead. He was so sad that he stabbed himself with his sword. But the rumor was not true. Cleopatra was alive. Servants brought the dying Mark Antony to her. He died in her arms. Now Cleopatra was alone. Octavian captured her. He was polite, but she was his prisoner. Cleopatra knew what would happen. Octavian would take her to Rome. He would show her in a parade. She would be a prisoner for everyone to see. This was the worst thing for a queen. She could not accept this shame. On August 12th, in the year 30 BC, Cleopatra died. She was 39 years old. People say she killed herself. Some people say a snake bit her. Other people say she used poison. Nobody knows for sure. But she chose her own death. She did not let Octavian control her end. With Cleopatra's death, Egypt ended as an independent country. Octavian took Egypt. It became part of the Roman Empire. Cleopatra was the last pharaoh of Egypt. After her, there were no more Egyptian kings or queens. Egypt became Roman. Later, it became part of other empires. But it was never independent again for a very long time. Cleopatra's story is more than 2,000 years old, but people still remember her. Why do we remember her? Because she was different. She was a woman in a world of powerful men. She used her intelligence. She spoke many languages. She studied science and philosophy. She did not just use beauty. She used her mind. She made mistakes, too. Some of her decisions were wrong. Some people say she cared more about power than about her people. Maybe this is true. But she lived in a very dangerous time. She tried to protect Egypt. She tried to keep her country free. She almost succeeded. Cleopatra showed us something important. She showed us that intelligence is power. She showed us that learning languages and studying books can change your life. She showed us that being brave is important, even when things are difficult. She was not perfect. Nobody is perfect. But she never gave up. She fought until the very end. Today, when we learn English, we are doing something similar. We are learning a new language. We are opening new doors. We are making ourselves stronger. Every word we learn is a small victory. Every story we listen to helps us understand the world better. Just like Cleopatra studied many languages to talk to different people, we are learning English to connect with the world. Thank you for listening to this story today. I hope you enjoyed this journey through history. I hope it helped you with your English learning. If you liked this story, please give it a like. If you want to hear more stories like this, please subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us create more content for your English learning journey. And if you have ideas for other historical stories, please leave a comment below. I would love to know which stories you want to hear next. Until next time, my friends, keep learning, keep listening, and keep enjoying the beautiful journey of English.